Hi there. So we have talked about drawing, all the drawing tools, not all the drawing tools, but the general drawing tools. So next I want to just talk about how you can now manipulate these. So I kind of simplified and took away some of the drawing things, and I'll kind of show you how you can start manipulating things. Again, a lot of these are going to happen with your selection tool, and I'm just going to kind of go through them. So this is the move, obviously. So you just select it. You can just move the object around, obviously. The next one is rotate, and you can then start to just rotate it. You click down, and you can rotate. These become different scales, so you can kind of start to now manipulate the size of things. So with the scale button, let's do this one now. I'm going to scale it up and down. Again, this is a circle, so it's harder to see, but you can push shift, and that always will with the scale, it will always equally scale it for you. Sorry about that. The scale and rotate, so this is where you can scale things and then rotate them. And play around with that. And then you have this stretch. I'm going to do the stretch, I think is easier to see on this guy. So you can stretch him up, you can stretch him out, and then you can always scale and rotate. So kind of some different fun things to do there. So those are kind of those few, I guess, 5 ones next to the direct selection. The other way that you can also start manipulating things is now to start to really look at these different points. So I like to show those with this guy. So again, you use your selection tool, and each one of these places where I clicked created like a vector. These are all kind of vector objects. So they have these points to them, or vectors. So with this one, this is the reshape. So I can take one of these vectors, these points, and start to move it around. I mean, generally I could do that with any of these. I would take a point and start to move it. So that's a way to reshape it. Now merging, that I'll show you later on when we start doing flat sketches, is more needed, and split as well. Adding a point is essentially adding a vector point. So let's say I want to add a point here, or add a point there. And then I can start to reshape and start to, make this a little different. You can then, of course, delete a point. You can always erase things. So the eraser is, you actually draw the eraser specifically in this. There are other ways you can erase and extract things, but using this tool specifically, you kind of draw out the shape that you're erasing, and then it erases it from there. Now with the fill, if you erase that line, it will, it automatically fills out. So like if I take away this fill, then you could see it wouldn't erase the fill, it just erases the vectors, so the lines that you've drawn, not the fill. So this is very specific to the drawing, not like the image. There are vectors, and then there are like images. So the vector, this delete does the vectored. Simplification and area extraction we'll learn about later once we start layering on some techniques. So go ahead and just kind of leave that alone for now. And then really these move textures, scale textures, and rotate textures, this is when we start bringing in our prints and patterns later on. So I'll show those tools later. So there we are as far as some manipulations.